It is May. It is 2017, May 5th, in fact, 2017. And I am on my way to the doctor's office. I'm wondering what is going to happen. I'm going armed with this. It's a Lyme MSIDS questionnaire. That means a multi-systemic infectious disease syndrome questionnaire. I am wondering, what am I going to tell him? Will he believe me? I see in the media that I have been reading that people aren't believed when they have Lyme. They go to the doctor's office and they're told, just have some antidepressants. Well, that happened to me. From the time that I pulled that tick off my body until the time that I went now with this in my hand, I had 5 visits and I was told, you must need antidepressants. I want to tell him about the time that I'm in the classroom and I'm seeing Billy come in, but when Billy walks in, I don't know Billy's name. I've seen Billy for 2 years. Fortunately, he has a folder and he hands me his folder and I see his name so I can start working with him. Later that day, his parents came in. And when his parents came in, all of a sudden I didn't know their names. So I looked down at the IEP. Well, hi, Julie and John. Fortunately, it's written on my IEP. Sylvia was in this meeting with me. Sylvia's our school psychologist, and she is the only person that I trusted to tell what was going on. And I said, Sylvia, something is really going on with me. It's bad. I don't know what it is. And so I explained to her what was happening. So she was in my back pocket. And during that meeting, I'm just looking at the IEP, familiar. I've done them for 30 years. I've done them since we wrote them by hand. I can tell you any part and explain the legal and all the details behind it. But I look down at this IEP and we're on page 3 and all of a sudden a cloud comes in and I don't know what it says. I cannot read. I can't read the page. It may as well have been in Chinese. And I flip the page and I just say to Sylvia with that deer in the headlights look, I think I forgot a page. And she knows. We had already talked about it. Bless that woman. She goes to my computer and she starts clicking around. I don't know what she was looking at because she wouldn't be able to find on my computer the right page. She's clicking around there saying, I'm looking for it. And then, a couple minutes later, after just small talk, all of a sudden I feel some air. And I look down and everything is clear again. I know what it says. I know my next part and we can continue. Maybe I should tell him about that. That's really scary to have that happen in your brain. Or maybe I should tell him about driving home. And when I was driving home, I'm driving where I've driven thousands of times. And I see an oncoming car on the asphalt here. And just like when you drive, we look around when we drive and there's this dirt road over on this side. So as I'm driving and I see this oncoming car and I look this way, I see the asphalt in the oncoming car this way. And I flip my eyes back over this way and I see that gravel road here. That's terrifying. What is happening to my brain? I can't drive my car safely. I realize it takes about 1 second for the vision of what I saw over here to come over here, and about 1 more second for what's in front of my eyes to become apparent to my brain, what I'm actually looking at. So I have a visual processing time of delay about 1 second. I don't know if I should even be driving this car. In Lyme disease, it's really common to have a visual disturbance. It is common that your memory will be impacted and the processing of information is impacted, including reading comprehension, because you've got an inflammatory response in your brain. And you can't control when that brain inflammation is actually happening. It just flares and it goes away. So as I drive my car, I'm wondering, what should I tell him? Maybe I should tell him about the pain that radiates in my hips. And it's lightning-like pain. So I was walking up the stairs at the school. Sometimes it's the first step. And all of a sudden I think, oh, what am I going to do? And then in just a few seconds, it's gone. and I can walk up the stairs, but it happens this fast and I don't know when it's going to happen. Sometimes I'm walking up the stairs and it happens one step below the top. So I learned to grip the stairs after I fell on the stairs, after the bin of preschool materials that I would carry fell on the floor. I started having to carry a bag with straps because I wanted my hand gripping that stairway and I wanted the other hand available at any time to hold on. It's completely unpredictable. I don't know if you'll believe me if I tell them about that, because if it's unpredictable, maybe it's on my head. Is it real? Maybe I should tell them about how when I lay down and sleep at night, the top arm goes numb and it gets cold like an old dead fish. And I have to pick it up and I roll over and tuck that cold arm under the covers. And then this one's on top. And then a couple hours later, I'm awake with that arm being dead and heavy and cold. All night, every night. That's persistent. Maybe I tell them about lightning in the spine. That is probably one of the worst situations. It only seems to happen though when I relax. And all of a sudden, lightning will jab in my spine and I'm stuck for a little bit. Or maybe it's like restless leg syndrome and it shoots down your leg and your leg gets stuck. The pain of that nerve pain is really tremendous. And I don't know if I dare tell him that it's transitory. I think I'm out of my mind. Lyme disease likes scar tissue. So if you have had a situation where you have had an injury, that's where Lyme bacteria likes to sit. So anything that you have had as a condition in the past can flare up and become worse. You have neurologic misfires and you have migratory pain. In fact, and then circulatory disturbance. I was looking online for what I should do about Lyme. Is this the thing? But before that, the reason I knew that this is what I needed to look up was because of this crazy symptoms. And when I would Google my symptoms, I got things like MS or muscular dystrophy, dementia, Alzheimer's, and a plethora of horrible, horrible labels. And as I would read into those labels, I'd think, yes, that's it. And no, it's not at the same time. I wanted to know what it was. And finally, I started getting a little bit smarter. And I Googled the symptom itself, pain that moves around the body. Poof, hallmark of Lyme disease. It was in that moment that I remembered that visit that was 14 months prior to this day. When I first went in to take that tick off my body and I showed them this rash, it's about this big. So the doctor said, that's not Lyme disease because it should look like the Target sign. Mine was about this big and it was red with a center that was purple, about the size of a pencil eraser. I got a second opinion. They looked at the rash and my blood work and said, nope, you don't have Lyme disease. In fact, the Minnesota Health Department says the tick has to be attached for 24 to 48 hours. I knew that wasn't the case. In Minnesota, our health department says that the tick has to be attached 24 to 48 hours still. I looked it up this morning to see if that's still what is said. It is completely untrue. And if you think about it, if you're bit by an animal with rabies, how long does it take? When you're bit by a mosquito, how long does it take? A flea, anything. It's instant. I don't know why they consider a tick different. Also, Lyme is a mimicking kind of disease. It looks like everything, while it isn't the same as everything. Misdiagnosis is really common. Many people have a series of time that they are treated for illnesses that they don't have before the diagnosis of Lyme. All right, I'm here. I've arrived. I'm going to go into the doctor's office. I hope he believes me. I have had so much time worrying about whether or not he's going to believe me. Is he going to think that I'm just needing antidepressants again? I grok that it is not needing antidepressants. It is something else. This might be it. Seems like it. After all, I'm going to show him this. I'm going to show him this questionnaire. If you get a score of 46, it says that you are highly likely to have Lyme and a probability of tick-borne illness, and you should see your healthcare provider for further evaluation. My score, 121. According to this and everything that I've done with the reading, I'm already in the late stage. I don't know if this is survivable. I walk in and I sit down. Hello. Thank you. And he sits down and he's looking at the computer. And he looks to me and he says, "Do you have a picture of the tick bite?" I said, "Well, yeah, I do, right here on my phone." And I showed him. His response, "Miss Rosenbush, I'm so sorry. That tick bite is conclusively Lyme disease. You didn't even need a blood test. I'm sorry you weren't treated." But in that moment, he's kind of angry, but I'm not angry. I'm relieved. He believed me. He didn't brush me off. He believed me. I don't know what comes next, but I'm assuming it's going to be fine. But he believed me. So I thought it's going to be fine. What I didn't know, maybe fortunately, is the worst is yet to come, tenfold.